Karen Schaefer, Michelle Parker, Karen Williams. 3 innocent state line women killed by speeding cars, fleeing after being spotted by police. Parker and Williams both killed during active police chases. Williams' car hit in Cherry Valley by suspected armed robbers during a pursuit from Boone County. Parker killed by a suspected drunk driver being pursued by Winnebago County Sheriff's deputies. In fact, there is nothing more dangerous a police officer can do with regards to public safety than a hot pursuit, especially when you consider statistics which show 40% of pursuits will end in a crash, and 1 in 3 deaths from police pursuits are innocent victims. That's why when the question becomes whether to chase or not to chase, more departments are choosing not to chase. You're looking at video of a Milwaukee police officer pulling over a teenage driver of a stolen van. Notice the teen speeds off as the officer approaches, and the cop calmly walking back to his squad car without giving chase. Milwaukee police drafted a strict no chase policy after a string of tragic deaths.
In 1 month, 3 innocent people were killed by fleeing criminal suspects.
All 3 deadly accidents happened after officers scaled back their pursuits. But Milwaukee police realized that wasn't enough.
We realized the issue wasn't even whether or not the officer was conducting the pursuit safely or indeed even terminating it. We realized that the decision to initiate the pursuit could still have deadly consequences.
And Milwaukee has not had a single pursuit-related death since the policy was adopted. I filed Freedom of Information requests with the Boone County and Winnebago County Sheriff's Offices and Rockford Police to see what their policies allow, and found out that all 3 departments place the right to pursue at the discretion of the officers involved.
Initially, the deputy has to make the decision to begin the pursuit. A supervisor is monitoring that.
Factors considered are time of day, road conditions, traffic, and speed of the fleeing vehicle.
There's always a risk involved in everything that we do that has to do with force or the potential use of force. And you have to, again, allow officers the opportunity to do their jobs.
State Representative John Cabello spent 17 years as an officer for the Rockford Police Department. He says some criminals need to be apprehended by any means necessary.
We have to be pragmatic about it. We have to make sure that we understand that there are some people that need to be captured, and they need to be captured right away. And they need to be captured at almost any cost because what are they going to do next? The officers are usually 99.9% going to make the right decision.
But did Winnebago County Sheriff's deputies make the right decision when they pursued Dennis Mikos? Mikos sped away after being stopped for DWI, deputies in hot pursuit, when he crashed into and killed Michelle Parker. And as this video shows, pursuing drunk drivers can be especially dangerous since officers already know that they are impaired. Watch as Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputies get into a serious crash after a suspected drunk driver hits a barrier at high speed. It's incredible that no one, suspect or officer, was killed. That chase likely would not have happened in the city of Milwaukee, where a section of the police policy permitting officers to pursue drunks was redacted from the final version. Officials realizing the danger of pursuing drunk drivers wasn't worth the risk to public safety. And they're not alone. The Winnebago County Sheriff's Department last made changes to their pursuit policy in 2010, which added banning deputies from chasing traffic offenders. And that included drunk drivers. But that policy did not prevent deputies from pursuing Mikos for DWI.
Whether it was initiate a pursuit of a drunk driver or fire their firearm, maybe in a situation that our policy may say there is something else that you don't do, but there may be reasons that a reasonable person sitting in that deputy's shoes would have done the same thing.
Distler calls the choice to pursue a double-edged sword, but pursuing dangerous criminals can actually save more lives in the long run.
It's easy for you to say we should have a no-chase policy, but in reality, there are times when I feel that to be a police agency out there doing the job that the citizens expect us to do, occasionally we have to initiate pursuits.
Chief Flynn doesn't disagree, but also believes good law enforcement should include discouraging pursuits.
Just this year, there was a significant increase in stolen cars. we did not change our policy. And we operated under the assumption that this dramatic increase in car theft was probably being committed by a finite number of people that we needed to identify and apprehend.
But not pursue.
All the